Well, I've got my digital audio recording device, but just to give you a quick update of how the morning's going, because later I've got the dentist. It's not a very clever morning. So it's basically to tell me to be on my bike. I'm basically saying that scooter means bike. You're on bike. You can't come off your bike, you can't fall off, you're on bike. But doing it in a piss-take way. And also suggesting, well, there's other setups as well. So obviously the loud bike issue's bad, timing it to an erection or whatever. Angling Zimmer frames up me. What else? Just come to fucking pieces t-shirt look-alike. Dog barks claiming I've molested specific girls' names. So there's 4 teenagers pushing a mistake in my direction. So they made themselves very stale. And after that there's an up the age van before spastics push my way. And then a Zimmer frame only in my direction. As far as suggestions of my father Michael is concerned, it's best for me not to say what's being suggested, but they're going well below the belt with the suggestions that's occurring there. They've got setups to tell me that I'm not going to get nothing, and in some ways they're laughing to say that they fucked it up for you going with Ella, and doing it in a spiteful way, but doing it in a way where they're laughing about it at the same time, in the suggestion like wording on vehicles or t-shirt names coming out as a message. Right, so I'm in Norton Subhampton Church. I've got something very serious to mention. Straight after I come off the phone to Holly Court, because I had a phone call, basically a seagull made a very, very clear sound to say that Jesus Christ is Ella. But that sound was not just clear, but it's like someone talking. This is getting very fucking serious. Because, obviously, this Ella is disconnected from me. And if that really is true, what that seagull said, everyone's cut their wrist. Because, obviously, if you were to look at it in Christianity, obviously, if you were to look at it on the principle of, like, 2 disconnected gods that were meant to be together to go onto earth and to come back together, then, obviously, the connection's been taken away, or that connection's turned, meaning Christ has fallen, because I'm not the one that's turned. So the age gap or anything at all could have caused that fall. I will mention, when I did see that Ella, on that day, going back to January the 14th, because it's the only day I actually saw her, I can't guarantee I saw her with a boyfriend on the 15th of July, in the morning, I'm not sure. Either so, Jesus would have an intelligence, if it was the return of Christ, through Ella, not to do that. However, these setups are suggesting, the ground setups, all the setups that are rigged up around me, which is done by UK government or UK empire or whatever's causing it, to try and rip me to pieces, are just saying that Ella's turned against you, ha ha ha, and to say you need to kick back with Jesus Christ kicking in your tummy, and and then cheering about it in this donut, this stupid way, in the way that they rigged this setup up on top of the malicious force that's against me. There's something about this Ella, and I don't know what it is. There's something I like about that person. She's got feels like she's like you know her from a different time, or she's connected to you. You feel like she's family to you. I don't know how to word it, but she's got. That's why I wanted to try and get to know her better, but I couldn't because I only saw her on that one day, and she's probably taken. Right, on the paranormal noise then. In the church. Yeah, 9 PM last night. I heard the rattling of the tray in the more paranormal activity there as well. Ella is a person that, out of everybody that I've known in my whole life, she's the nearest person I like and the cutest person I've seen in my life, out of all females. Obviously, you've got to take into account you've got family, but there's not really, in relatives and family, there's not really any females, to be fair. But what I will say is, if this really was a God connection person that was supposed to go with me, with everything unfolding with the media, the music industry, and suggestions, whatever else, then I can tell you now God's fallen. There's going to have to be replaced. Even if God has fallen and it's too late, they can at least let me have something, because I've had no sex in my whole life apart from being sexually abused as a child. And it was the same in my last life, according to a psychic that gave me a past life reading 20 years ago. I had a sick life in my previous life, and then when I'm born again and in my next life, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get sexually raped again. So that's triple times. But yeah, I really did like that fucking Ella. To the fucking heart, yeah? And if I did go with her, I would never hurt her, and I would never cheat on her, even if I saw the sexiest, prettiest person on the planet on top of her that wanted to deceive me to go with that person or have sex with that person. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that to Ella. I really did like that person, but it might be the biggest mistake of all time if it really is a God connection in Christianity, if you believe in Christianity religion, because that person's taken, or she's gone, or she's turned. Not a nice thing to have to say, but they did say, or people have said, that the time will come where Christ is going to fall. It might have come true already. I want a replacement girlfriend anyway. I haven't had anyone. In Christianity, you've got what is known as the Great Wedding, which is the return of Christ. Stop recording because there's some bikes and scooters in my direction, and a mic van, and a rain cover hit over, and an MGK van, which is parked. Right, so I'm at the bus stop near enough. So the Great Wedding is the return of Ella.
I'd like to get away from it, really.
Yes, Jesus Christ is telling me, old granny. Funny, innit, Christ? That's Ella. I don't know if the Jesus Christ is the devil in disguise. Like I said, I've not turned against Ella, but if she's fallen, that'll be the first time in living history since the beginning of mankind that God has turned in human form. Because Ella in Christianity means near enough the same as Jesus Christ. The divine, basically. Loving, caring, helpful. I was listening to Smokey Joe, Shining, Giddy Ranks remix, which is on Jungle Massive Collective 1. It does sound like it's saying Ella has turned, but it also says sun is shining, how crazy. It's like got a rainy, stormy sort of sound to the music. Mention a little bit more on this Ella, because there's been some suggestions while I've been out. Because they're very paths blocked, very adamant about needing to time a bike or be ridiculous about that. Taking that away, there's been some suggestion to say that Ella's God. Now, obviously, I've mentioned all the conspiracy of this specific suggestion, and it's like they don't give a damn in the way that they're suggesting it. So they're saying that Ella's turned, making the suggestion this is why they changed the age of consent in 2003 to regulate older people from going with anyone under the age of, well, basically the legal age of 16. Even though it's legal, they're sort of kind of cheering about it, but at the same time making the suggestion that Ella is the return of God, and basically laughing about that they sliced my wrists for me getting anyone, and making the suggestion there's no replacements, you're on your bike. We're doing it in a pathetic way, and also there is a new van name and it says on your scooter. It also seems to me, or it appears to me, they're trying to turn me against Ella, trying to cause me to fall out with her. Well, I'm not going to fall out with that person. Obviously, if she gets a boyfriend and she's made pregnant, then yeah. But if I got someone as a replacement before I next see her, if she's already, you know, if she's with someone and has been made pregnant or whatever. But if I got someone and it was a replacement, yeah, I'd still be friends with her and I'd still like her. But if she was made pregnant and had a boyfriend where it's too late and I was still single and never had anyone still, then no, I'd just ignore her. Not to be spiteful or anything like that, but because I will feel sickened of the way I've been treated and the way my life has gone, and how, without any knowledge of knowing what's going on and why she never occurred after that one day I saw her. It's sort of, you don't know, you see, that's the problem. People Ella's age, if you go back to the mid-1990s, there were people my age, not much older, but there was a few that were a little bit older than I am today, that were with people Ella's exact age as she is today. But because that new rule that they put in 2003, where they restrict people in authority from going with people at a younger age, it puts some dampers on it. But it's not just that. They're not just restricting you, you know, sort of 16, 18 or 21, but they're restricting up to 25 for older people. That's the thing. Although it's legal, because the way the media and the mainstream and everything's fucked up and trying to force people to go with the same age group, or suggesting it very strongly, it's corrupting people's minds to tell them that they've got to go with the same age, and it's making people dangerous because they think it's dangerous if you go with a different age group. This is the problem. It's very... I have actually had someone this year that's quite young that's actually come up to me. This person's only... It could be younger, but I'd say she's 22 or 23. This happens very rare. It's probably not even a British person, I don't know. It could be like a holiday maker. It was a couple of months ago. It's at Norton Subhampton, going on the back path. And what happened was there was a young lady, sort of got that youthful look, but you know that she's not a youth. You know that she's, you know, in her 20s. She had like pink pyjama bottoms on and purple top, and she had brown hair, kind of a browny type of skin. It wasn't fully white, it was white, but like had a browny sort of shade colour to it, really smooth. There's one of the other types that you never usually see being single, and they're always mothers, that type as well, not just the blondes. This is the problem. This is why I can't find anyone and never had anyone, because all these guys are grabbing them before I get the chance. And if they only know the people on their smartphone and not willing to, you know, expand or become more flexible, it just does not help people that are single and never had anyone. And you've got the moaning of the age gap as well. However, this woman wasn't moaning about the age gap, but she fucked up anyway, because she's got a boyfriend. So let me give you the story, yeah? Going back, you know, a couple of months ago, whenever it was, I was walking down a track, and obviously the description of the woman that I just mentioned walked in my direction, and obviously because she was my type, I got excited, and obviously it caused me to get, you know, an erection, as it would, like it does for most people. I mean, I went to Hollywood Bowls going back a couple of months ago with a mate, two mates, and all you're seeing is men walking around with erections in their bulges in their trousers where they've got an erection. So there must be some, you know, beautiful ladies in there for them to, you know, be walking around doing that. But anyway, back to this lady. So I was sort of writing stuff down on a piece of paper, general setups and whatever else. So she walked at me. She gave like sort of sunken eye look towards me, as if like she liked me, and she started smiling, but she sort of also sort of looked to make sure that there's nobody around when she did it. Then she sort of walked slowly and then walked to me as I sort of was walking at a steady pace writing. Then she walked into me, rubbed her arm against my arm. Obviously I had my coat off, so she was rubbed her skin against my skin and did it in like a sexual way. I sort of slowed down. I was sort of wondering, because she sort of smiled at me as well. And then as I passed, I looked behind, and she'd come to a stop and looking at me from behind. So I just sort of walked really slow. Then there's a couple of rough people in front of me, so I sort of ended up getting a pen and paper out, trying to pretend to write something down. So I wrote an advance thing, which I don't usually do, so like a loud bike or whatever, timed or. And after that, her phone rang, and it happened to be her boyfriend. And then she went, "Oh fuck," when the phone rang. And then she answered it, and then she started moving at a normal pace as I looked behind, away from me. Take that one person away that did that, quite literally out of thousands and thousands of people, they all got a problem with me. Now, like I said, I don't know if it's a person in the UK or someone from abroad, but people in the UK don't usually do that in this day and age, because they prefer you to go with older people, or even if you've been molested and never had anyone, they want you to go with older people regardless, or they've got your restrictions on you in that sort of way. But that's just one story going back a couple of months ago. Obviously she could work out my age, you know, so that she wasn't bothered by that. But she already had a boyfriend. She sounded like a very calm British accent, but it's hard to say. It could be someone from anywhere. Could be a holiday maker, I don't know. I didn't really take much of notice of the accent, to be fair, but it definitely sounded like it was it's definitely it comes from a calm family, a friendly family. But like I said, all my life, in the 44 years I've been here, nearly 45, I've not managed to get sex at all, hardly, because of the way it's been treated. It's always been in a sly way, like a couple of moves or a blowjob only or whatever. When it comes to actual sexual, you know, proper enjoyable sex, I've been stopped from getting it all my life, because people keep offering me the negative type, and these types I can't take to. And I'm not being funny, but they're more negative looking, with rougher skin, than people that sexually abused me as a child, which is not going to solve the problem of what happened to me in the past. But like I said, too many people are too restricted with the age gap, and the rough community are very nasty about it. And even, you know, they even threaten to weapon people down, or to kill them, or to shoot them, or to smash them to pieces, or run them over, or whatever. So it's not good. But you know, I shouldn't be, you know, involved, or be. It's where they control these types of people around me, you see. There's been trouble right through the whole of my life. Some of the people in America that I've been speaking to on, not so much dating because they're too far away, it's mostly friendship at the moment, but they've been saying that they think it's some form of organisation that's doing it, somewhere like the mafia, or someone that's deliberately doing it, going around telling people to destroy you, basically, and saying you need to get out of the country, you know, because they're not going to let you have anyone. And they said that's the reason that they think that Ella doesn't go to Mind anymore, because they want to fuck it up. Because I told her that we were good friends, even though she's a massive age gap between the two of us, and she thinks it's done deliberately to stop any further friendship going on into possible relationships later on. But they did it with the wrong person this time, because it's a godly name and it's a God suggestion woman. But like I said, I'm trying to see if I can replace it myself, going on dating, but there's so many scammers, there's not much I can do. Socialising, there's no one at all. All the possibilities, if Ella hasn't been made pregnant, even if she has a boyfriend, if they split up, I can forgive her on that mistake. But it's not her mistake, it's because of authority stopping me have any communication with her. I wouldn't be happy about it, because she won't be as fresh, but for that specific person, and because of the situation, I would forgive on that principle. But if she becomes pregnant and it's too late, then unless I get anyone, when I next see her, then I'll have to turn against her for good and remain bygones, like everyone else that's turned against me. I won't hurt anybody, obviously, or I won't attack or anything like that. But what I would do is I would just simply ignore them, or just say alright, depending on how they react when they speak to me. But, you know, I don't really want to fall out with this person, but I'm not very happy about losing the communication or whatever, just because of the fucking age gap. I mean, for people that haven't had a very clever life, it'd be helpful if they could make that, the thing is, since they changed the age of people, you used to leave school at 16, you were an adult at 16, now it's 18. So in the hands of the law, if someone's 17 or 16, they still classify them as minors. And when you're sort of in your 40s, they're even saying people 21 and 25 are very vulnerable to older men. So it's very difficult, this, because when I was a child or a teenager, I was seeing people with age gaps, people my age, with people Ella's age, and in some cases actually slightly younger. In actual fact, if we go back on certain occasions, some would, getting in relationships with people in their 40s or maybe pushing into their 50s when they're still 15, coming up 16. So, it's not like that today. People have changed today. But really, it's not the age that's the problem. The only one that I'm with Ella, it's a little bit different with her because there's something about that person I really like. But she just can't, I'm not allowed to. I've got a restriction on me that I can't communicate with that person because of the posts that I put on Facebook in a certain way, which it didn't look good to people in authority when they found out. But they're not so as, how do I put it, concerned as they were. It's sort of dropped a little. I did type out when I went to the dentist today, and I had about an hour, just under 2 hours to wait for the dentist, so I ended up doing 2 pages of like a conspiracy about this Ella. And not a conspiracy because I like her, but if it's God, sort of a bit like what I've been mentioning on air earlier. Before I wouldn't hurt that person and I wouldn't turn against that person. But obviously, if she got a boyfriend and she was made pregnant, and I still had no one, and I was in a suffering bad way, still needing someone and no one helping me, then yeah, I would turn against her. Not that I like turning against people, but people shit on me right through the whole of my life. And, haven't given me a fucking chance. And while I'm at this age that I'm at now, it's getting more limited. Because people won't allow the age gap. I'm not being funny, but people have, really taken me down. They fucking sexually crucified me, that's what they've done, and nobody gives a fuck. There's a couple of people that got into domestic violent relationships and didn't want me because of the age gap, and they turned out getting hit about, made pregnant, and yet they still prefer their boyfriends who they were with than they do me, and yet I wouldn't do nothing like that to a lady. So anyway, I'll leave it there on that part. Well, I want to mention something that goes back to, I think it's about May. It's just in the time period after I stopped using dating sites. For 2 reasons. This is one of the reasons. A scammer, who I later found out was not from the UK, wanted money for a gift card with a $sign from it, from the link that she gave me. But initially I thought it was Ella trying to contact me on Facebook because we didn't see each other, or haven't seen each other apart from that one day. So what happened then? I thought this person at the time, that is, I thought this person's not stupid. She's using her head, unlike everybody else. But obviously it wasn't. And she told me, "Can you please," said, "I'll go with you, but please will you not go looking for other girls on dating sites and all the rest of it." And then obviously I said, "What's your name then?" And she sort of, and I said, "Is this Ella?" And basically she said she's not saying. She said, "I'll let you know later on." Said, "Let's build the friendship up first, So that's what I did. So between April and May or whenever it was, I stopped using dating sites in June, July, and August. But in July, I had this restriction on me that I'm not allowed to mention Ella, or I could be in serious trouble with the police, or it could go into a situation where jail even, or because they had me down as trying to stalk her, because I was saying that I want to see her again because she's a good friend, and I haven't seen her apart from that one day. And then they thought that I tried asking her if she's single, said that I tried looking for her after she said she was with someone when she didn't, so she didn't say nothing on that Monday about that. In actual fact, she said she implied that she was single. So there's a few twists that have been made and things that are made up, and some of the stuff that I put on Facebook was misinterpreted. And then obviously they said you could have curfews on you or even be banned from the internet for good. Well, I've stopped mentioning the sexuality of this person or stuff that comes out in that way, or trying to ask for that person or whatever, or try searching for that person in a way where it breaks the rule. I mention the name, yeah, but it's in subject like I'm doing at this minute in time. It's not in a way where it's harassing her, if you get what I'm saying. And obviously I'm putting no surname because I don't even know her surname, but I'm not putting, if I did know it, I wouldn't be putting surnames either. But so this could mean any Ella in the world who I'm referring to. But yeah, I thought it was her, so I stuck off of the internet. When I found out about that in July, it sort of got me a bit worried. I thought, and then you had like the overall suggestions, like the adverts, the music, uncovering more Ella stuff, the Google search bar in the football World Cup season suggesting Ella. What's going on? Does she still like me? Does she not like me? Have we lost contact? Is she with someone or what? I still don't know. And I thought to myself, well, they've got the suggestion she's God, returned in female. You've got so many things that are coming out, and it's coming out really interesting. And it's even coming out even in the last couple of days. Last 5 days it's picking up strong again. So, I sort of left it. I thought I'm not dating. So at the moment, because I've had no communication from her from eight months, or there's no guarantees or whatever, I've had to start searching, see if there's anyone else. But I'm just coming across scammers in the last 2 weeks. Like I said, I don't know how long I can hold it, before she can make contact, if that ever occurred. But the thing is, if the media is making a suggestion I'm going with her, I need to know what's going on. Because are they psychic or something, or noetic science? But the problem is, yeah, if it's not through, if I can guarantee it's not through, 100% guarantee, or someone in the authority can tell me it's not through, and then she's single, yeah, I will stay single for her, because I like her. But I just don't know, do I? Because I'm not allowed to search. Because if I do, I get in trouble. But it's knowing, isn't it? It's the problem. People that are not stupid will hold back for someone that hasn't had a very clever life or never had anyone. But I don't know if the intelligence level, because all people are different and not all people will accept or agree, or age gap problems or whatever. I just do not know with this person, because I only knew her for 1 day. But she did seem to me to be a really nice person. I will say that. There's a lot of things she said, I couldn't make out half of what she was saying. She was speaking so quiet, it's so noisy in there. But either way, at the end, after playing pool, the last time I saw her, and the last bit, I said, I'll see you next week, take care, Ella. And stay safe, or something like that. I can't remember what I said now. And she said, yeah. And that was it. The staff called Ella, and that's the last I saw of her. Only on the 14th of January, and that's the only day. If it came to someone else or anybody else, I wouldn't be so, regardless of the age, whether it's a tiny touch younger or whether it's older, If it's someone else, I wouldn't be as like, how do I put it, as serious as I would be as if I went with Ella. And the reason I would say that is because I like that person. Well, I can tell you now, I like that person more than I fancy her. That's how I worked it out. So I can fancy her, but it's more to it, like a love connection, like a. And as I was saying earlier, she reminds me of something, whether it's a past life or something that's not reality. Like she's connected basically in some way, but you just can't. Your brain can't interpret that information to exactly say, or that it's someone that was supposed to be with you and has come back to you. But how can that be? It's been put through. And I was sort of thinking to myself, I'd be slightly uncomfortable due to the way people are today, although it's not a problem. In other countries it wouldn't be. Well, USA I feel I'd feel normal. But in the UK, because they're about age, they sort of get you a bit more sort of, you know, with Ella, that specific one, that wouldn't bother me. But if it's, I'll take away Ella, if it's anyone else, then I prefer that person to look slightly older. But not to a point, you know, it depends. That one specific person, there's just something about her, and I don't know what it is. Whether it's a return of God, half God, I just don't have a clue. But it's been playing on my mind, and it's been, how do I put it? It's been torturing me, torturing my soul, and torturing my feelings, and making me feel fucking sickened and down, and fucking like everything else has turned against me. And then you put through, and then you put down, and think to yourself, why did I love that person? Why did I have a heart for that person? You know, I've done it with many others, and it turns out they never really liked me. Or told me you're a fucking sick bastard or whatever, you know. And they've like been in relationships where they've been made pregnant or hit about, and yet they still think that their ex-boyfriend is much more loving than someone like myself. But you know, that's the way people are, isn't it? So, but I need that help from that person. I can't. I don't know what the reasons is. If I find out what the reasons are, then it'll put me in a bit of a better situation to, because I might have to look for someone else, but at the same time, I don't really want to lose that person, but at the same time, I can't have communication with her. I might see a psychic or something, see what they can say, see what the reason is. So, I just don't know. So Ella's face is like your average, you know, blonde teenage type, yeah? But with a slightly different characteristics that suggest like a more like a caring, loving sort of honest person, if you get what I'm saying. But, you know, leave it out on that. I've got bloody vaping problems. I can't stand the smell of it. So it's exhaled as well, you see. It's not clean. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it on the principle. God, if God wants me to be with that person, then God can put that person in my path. And if not, if God's fallen, then she's lost. I think we just have to leave it as that, I think. But there needs to be replacements if God's fallen. Well, they had a direct answer to that, didn't they? A mic van and timed a loud bike at a time I'm not very happy about. And that's God for you, isn't it? So that's not a replacement. So Mike is my father, not a girlfriend. So, but the creator God's not brainy enough to see that. So I don't know who it's going to be replaced with. So who is it going to be replaced with? Granny, is it? Granny for you, Van? It seems to be corrupt, doesn't it? Whatever the suggestion is. Anyway, I'll leave it there. If there's anyone single, I'm not going to be pathetic about it. I'm not going to give me a pile of dirt or a grubby person, and please get in contact. You will be loved.